Pleasant good morning, one and all. Welcome to today's episode of Speaking Out, Exposing Corruption and Incompetence. Today is Wednesday, the second day of April 2025. We're into the month of April already. The last program was on Monday, the 31st of March. Now we are into April. Welcome, one and all. And as I would say to you, share the live. Let people know that we are here. Now let me tell you this, as at the beginning. I am pleased to announce that we have in the schoolyard this morning a record number of students, without a doubt, a record number of students according to the register record number. So welcome. Share the live, let others know that we are here. I noticed too that we have lots of new students. You are always welcome. We are here to share information, we are here to impart knowledge and all. So share, let them know that we're on Wednesday, the second day of April 2025. Another great day that the Lord has made. Let's rejoice and be glad in it. Let's give praise and thanks for being in the land of the living. It's a privilege to be in the land of the living. Many persons would not have been this fortunate. So let's give praise, let's give thanks. And you know, as we said, schoolyard chock full of this morning. When the school gate was open at 7 o'clock, on the dot, 7 o'clock, students were lined up to come into the schoolyard. And then when we went live, and the school gates, doors were open a while ago, and the students are in. The only thing you have to do is to give me the thumbs up, share the live, and give the thumbs up. Now, let me say, we'll have to fly through the roll call this morning. And let me say, for those people who say that the roll call takes some time, not really, you know, it's designed that way. Because a lot of students, some come on, or some come into the schoolyard 7, and as soon as we go live at 11, some come into the school. But we have our people who are going to struggle along, and we don't want them to miss anything. So that the roll call and the announcement, these things are fillers before we go into the meat of the program. My colleague, Mr. Conway, as usual, is already in the studio, and we're going to get on with it in a short while. School door, the program was scheduled, or the gates were open at 7 o'clock this morning. And immediately, I think this too was a record. I think it was 20 students who were there at 7 o'clock to come in. Others came in 1 minute after, and so about 20. The first man in this morning was our good friend, J.K. from Maryland. First man in the schoolyard. Well, I said 20 of them came in, but J.K. name is listed as the first, and Barlett is there. Well, Barlett sleeps. He comes down from the hills and he sleeps. And somebody said that he's a janitor. He cleans the school, so that is why he's there early so regularly. Then it was Tessa, John, Lucius, Leon, Morton, Moses, the Karamook man, Kenneth from Maryland, Carlton, my squad mate, 9430, Aubrey, Ulrich from West Dem, Malcolm, Derek, Hezzy, Fergus, Marcia, True Guyanese, Carl Johnson. Then it was, up to Carl came in at 7. And then shortly after, you had Peter, Wayne from the UK, Earl, Uncle Paul, Lennox, Cecile, Patricia, Clarence, Aubrey, and Aubrey's out of Canada, 9053, Brian, Lyndon, Winston, Emerson, Joan, Compton, Malvok 5. Malvok, you were missing in class for a little while. Good to see you back. Paul 2, I think he's a new or let me know that he might have been here before, I can't recall. Felicia, Marlon, Puran from Essequibo Coast, Denise, the secretary, Raul, Benji, Matthew, Clifton from Paris, Gashton, Taylor, my squad mate, 9556 out of Canada, Sandra, Claire, Orin from the UK is here as well, Courtney from New Jersey, Aileen, Wayne, Vibert, 9066, Patrick, Rodney, 12128, I think was his number, Clifton, 9339, Pastor Smith is here, Roxanne, Barbara, Evelyn, Paul, my shooting partner, Kevin, Hazel, Floyd, 10688, Original Black Man is here, Glandis, Diane, Jacko is here with us from Georgia,
Michael from Imbai, Princess from Lamar Springs, Annette. Then it was Melinda, Pito, 8152 from Queens, Monica, Marcus, Smitty is here with us, 7464, Desiree from Georgia, Pamela from West Dem, Grantley, Lynette from the UK, Sean from Schenectady, New York, Myrtle, the Angel is with us as well, Michael Samuels, he's from Linden, Ulrich, my squad mate 9555, he's out of Barbados, Joseph, Father Masha is with us, John, Ronald, Clive 12789 from the UK, Paulette, Neville is here, and Esla, Ovid 0937, Dexter, then it was Terrence 9795 from Canada, 8218, Eric is here from us, he's from New Jersey, Siobhan is here, Marva, then it was Bonita, Isabella, Harold, Keith from Barbados, Hope is here, Neville, then it is Kurt, Claremont, Aubrey, Winslow, Terrence, Grace is here, Mary, Nicola, Myrtle, Roderick, Albert 0892 is here with us, Leslyn, Junior, Valerie, Sandrine, Maureen, Ainsworth, Mr. K, Rayburn, then it is Tallulah, Daniel, Dion, Francis Keith from Melanie, Heather is here with us, KP, Anthony, the Amanda, Colin from Queens, David, Rhonda, Vibord from the East Bank of Demerara, Rhonda, Denhamstel in the house, Selwyn, Kerry from Maryland, Lorraine, Vornan is here too from New Jersey, Queenie from Brooklyn, Anthony Peters Hall and the East Bank, 11032 is here with us, Siobhan, Onika, Dorette, then it is Michelle seems to be a new student, Carl is here, George 8727, Henrik, Abira, then it was Lyndon, Mark, can't recall this student before too, then after Mark is Marcus, Leon, Michael Brower is here with us, 14126 from the British Virgin Islands, Troy, Lester, Hazel, Tuana, Elton, Ricky, next, can't recall, seen Ricky before too, 18820, he says his number was, Vivian, Vashti, Karen, Errol, Danny is here, Alvin, Farina, Samuel, Doreen, my squad mate from Canada, W349, Trevor, Uverine, Claude, William, George, Roy from upstate New York, Norbert, Gordon, Franklin, Mingo is here, 8803, I think his number was. Is here. Welcome, Franklin. Cheryl, Cranston, 15837, Orin, Chilo is with us. Umi is here. O'Neill, Cedric, 8219. We have 8218, Como Orleans. We have 8219, Danny. Desmond, Shemlin, Dion, Courtney, Travis, Alticia, Verlin, Clay, Bernadette, Alista, Keon. Keon was call me later. R. Crawford, Gwyneth, Carol, Monica, Paulette, Godfrey, Gordon, and Gordon is from California. Then it is Roy. Barbara is here with us. Rosalind, Lennox. Then it is Sheena, Phil, Everett from Texas, Orville, John from Tennessee, David, Sharon, Jean, Maxwell Beaton is here, 11704 Beaton, Melville, Ralph, can't recall, he seems to be a new student too, Forbes, then it is Rastaman, Sean, Forbes, Terrell, Selwyn, the attorney is here. Tell me we're going to talk about that. He's referring to a video where there's an altercation, another altercation, violent altercation between police and civilian. Elroy is here, Mark, Delan, Wendy, Mr. G, Latifa, Leroy, Marcia, Barbara, and Barbara was the last in the schoolyard. And when we open the school doors, we have Willis is here, Claudine, Lennox, Brandy, Carlton Popo, Joyce Prince, Simone, and the list goes on and on and on. As I told you, record number of students in the schoolyard this morning, and I want to compliment all you students. I suspect overnight you have reaching out to others and said, don't forget class tomorrow, don't forget. And with all that is going on, I sure you want to come here and to hear hear us analyze these things, and we're not going to disappoint you. I don't think we have ever disappointed you, and we don't intend to start now. So yes, sit back, relax, sit back, and we're going to get it. Now let me go through the announcements very quickly. My colleague is anxious to get started. I told you to, let me pull it up. I want to go back the arrangement for the funeral of the young attorney. I saw it published. I have it here to go through with you. So bear with me. Let me pull it up. Yeah, the young attorney Akil O'Neill Johnson. Then we reported here that he was killed in an accident on Sheriff Street some time ago, and so his funeral, as we said. Let me get it correctly. He is to be buried. I think it is. Hold on, let me bear with you. Funeral Friday, the 4th. That's Friday coming. But last night they had vigil at QC. Tonight they're supposed to be awake at the George Guys Pavilion, Brickdam. Then tomorrow, Thursday, a candlelight vigil from 7 to 9 at the accident site, Sheriff and Dandenava Street. And then Friday, the 4th of April, funeral viewing at the body of Merriman's Funeral Home from 11 p.m. to noon, viewing at Merriman's Funeral Home. Then from 1 to 2, viewing at the body of the church, and then service immediately after. And the church is Restoration and Life Ministries, Church and Caneview Avenue, Heroes Highway. So that is how the funeral arrangement for our departed brother, Akil O'Neill Johnson. I know I learned that the young attorney, I think they said he was 27 years old, was scheduled to be married on the 12th of this month, 12th of April. He was scheduled to be married on the 12th of April. I understand that at the time of his demise, his fiancée was abroad shopping a wedding dress. Imagine that. So devastating young 27-year-old attorney lost his life. And that is what happening. Problems on the roads in Guyana. Madness. And people say, well, don't blame the authorities. We got to blame them. They are responsible for making sure that systems are in place, that the laws are there, and that the laws are properly enforced. Sensible laws are properly enforced. So sad. And to move on, to tell you, as I said, we also told you about the death and funeral arrangement of Morris Jarvis. We know him as Nassar. That will be on Sunday, the 6th of April in New Jersey, Orange, New Jersey. The funeral service will take place. Right? And again, I want to express sympathy to the people from Myanmar, I think is the pronunciation. They had a massive earthquake recently. When we reported on Monday, the death toll was just over, they said, 1,700. Well, the latest I saw, well, not the latest, well, I looked at it last night, over 2,700 persons or bodies have recovered. And they say hundreds more are missing, right? Hundreds more are missing. Now, again, I want to also remind you that today, the second day of April 2025, marks 385 days since Sergeant Alex Vaughn, Police Sergeant Alex Vaughn, I think his number was 5908, was shot and killed. They said he was accidental shooting by his colleague. Postmortem showed that he received 3 bullets. And after the initial report, we cannot hear anything as yet. 385 days. 385 days. Right? So we got to keep announcing, we have to keep talking about these things. We got to keep talking about it. And for the happier news, today is the birth anniversary of Assistant Commissioner Khalil Pasram, who is now back who is now back on the East Coast as Regional Division 4C, Covanjan headquarters. You know, he was there. He had an exchange with Blanham, the crime chief. And as a result of that, when, well, I can't say as a result of that, I give him out liberty. Shortly after, Parjam went on leave, and then he was removed from his command, put at what we used to call research and planning. Just call it now strategic planning department. And then he was moved from strategic department, he put to audit, and now he's moved from audit and he's back to the East Coast. Musical cheers. So today is his birthday. I want to send out birthday greetings to him. He was one of my students when I lectured at the university in 2009, security and public safety. One of the students. And belated birthday greetings to William Welcome. We told you we had a future birthday. Well, he celebrated yesterday, retired superintendent or former superintendent. I don't think he retired. And then we have advanced birthday greetings to several persons. Matthew Craig, I'm not sure what his rank is now, but he's going to celebrate a birthday soon. We have retired superintendent Wayne Jackson. So you remember Wayne from Boris and then Georgetown. 88, 78, I think was his number. I mean, I could tell you, I used to captain the police officers cricket team at a period of time. And when Jacko became an officer, I was overjoyed because Jacko was a good cricketer, off-break bowler and batsman. Yeah, so he's celebrating soon. Also celebrating soon is Wendy Dainty Walker. Many of you might not remember her. She was 06 something, 63 or something like that. She used to be at the TSU registry back in the day, in the mid-70s and so on. She used to be there in the TSU registry. Wendy Dainty Walker is celebrating shortly. And we also have attorney at law, Darren Wade. My friend Darren is to celebrate. He will be celebrating shortly too. And then no, Sean, that the police officers team that we used to be commander-in-chief, I think it was, commander-in-chief among officers from the various services. In those days, you had police, GDF, national service, militia, fire service, prison service. We all used to take part. I scored my first 100 in that tournament. Things to remember. Now, there's a birthday to be celebrated on the 4th, a 100th birthday. And this is the anniversary birthday of UC Quayana, the sage. UC Quayana will be celebrating. He was born on the 4th of April, 1925. And he's still alive, and his brains are still sharp. His brain's still sharp, and he's going to be celebrating his 100th birthday. And no, I checked it out this morning. He was a cabinet minister in the PPP government of 1953. I wasn't even born then. He was a cabinet minister in the PPP government of 1953. They said the British had arrested him in 1954. And then he left the PPP and he formed ASCRIA. The older people might remember ASCRIA. And ASCRIA was the African Society for Cultural Relations with Independent Africa. They said it was a Pan-African or a Pan-Africanist grassroots political group. And after a brief flirtation with the People's National Congress, the PNC, he fused, ASCRIA fused into the Working People's Alliance, WPA, with Walter Rodney. Now the head is Dr. What's his name? David Hines. Dr. David Hines is now the head of that. So a little history and a little birthday celebration coming up. I want to take this opportunity to wish all those who celebrated their birthdays, who are celebrating today, who celebrated recently, and who are celebrating in the near future, happy birthday. You see, Quayana I remember Sidney King, that was his name, Sidney King. And let me tell you this, he and my father, the late, great Paul Obadiah Slow, were in village politics together. My father for years was village chairman of the BV Triumph. It wasn't NDC then, it was village council. And I remember very well, because when at my father's funeral, way back when, Mr. Quayana was there, right? He was there, he spoke to me, and he offered condolences and so on, because he said, you remember, he and the old man used to be in the political trenches together, right? So, yeah. And before I bring in Mr. Conway, I want to say happy anniversary to members of Course 69. Course 69. Today, I think we were premature on Monday, and that was Mr. Conway's course 69, Course 69. They joined the force on the 2nd of April, 1953. So, how was that? 1973. See, I said 1973. So today is the 52nd anniversary. And the course, I understand from the little research I did and from one of the squad mates here, it was from 9005 Aaron to 9119 Ross. Many of those people in between I knew, and they worked with me, we worked together. So congratulations, Mrs. Conway. Happy anniversary to you and your squad mate. We did say it was April 1. It was April 1. For those of us who are superstitious, All Fool's Day, let me tell you a story before we go on. When the tint law, the current tint law was to be implemented, I was the traffic chief. And the order was for it to be implemented from April 1, 1990 something. I can't remember the exact year. Larry Lewis was the commissioner. Larry Lewis told me, hey, nothing can implemented on All Fool's Day. He said, nothing. I am not implementing no new regulation on All Fool's Day. Wait until the 2nd of April. So the tint regulation was implemented from the 2nd of April, I can't remember the exact year, but those who are research inclined can look and see 2nd of April. I always remember that because I think the 4th of April was a Monday, and Larry Lewis called me, said nothing then implemented on All Fool's Day. Let me understand this thing clearly. Now let me bring in Mr. Conway. CC, welcome again. Congratulations on your anniversary, your squad mate anniversary, and welcome, my brother.
Thank you very much. Praise the Lord. We're in the land of the living to do God's work. Congratulations to all those persons who celebrated birthdays recently. And thanks for the compliments. Yes, it's a day like today. We became a member of Course 69. 115 of us were sworn. And I remember that day, where we held hands together. Some have passed beyond the great beyond, while others are here. I remember the first man to meet Assistant Commissioner was Bovell, the bandmaster, and then I followed him. And we had several other top-ranking persons who they might not have gotten the rank, but they held top-ranking position in the force. So, and to my squaddies who are online there, congratulations, seeing another milestone. And let me just reminisce a bit, I remember I nearly didn't get a work. Because when I went to Fort Pelham Police Station, they had a couple there and they were measuring me, your height, your chest and all kind of thing and do everything. And then when I jump on the scale, I had 130 pounds. And the guy said, no, 135 or nothing. You can't hold on no thief man with 130 pounds. I said, well, I get little qualifications and so, right now me looking after qualifications, I looking after pounds. I looking after pounds, and you can't hold on no thief man with 130 pounds, 135 or nothing. There had an officer there, I think his name was Gibbs, and he knew me. He said, wait till you're ready for young Conway, he gonna put on a 5 pounds. And that's how the man processed me. And I was fair to have it. He retired as an inspector, and I retired as an assistant commissioner.
Yeah, good. Somebody is telling us that it was implemented, that is the tint regulation, on the 4th of April, 1999. That could be right. But I know Larry Lewis instructed not the 4th of April. So that's the information there. And I want to remind us, too, that we're still in the Lenten period for our Christian brothers and sisters. Hope they are fast, whatever they decide to give up, hope they are being successful. It runs until the 18th of this month. I think 18th is Good Friday. And then we have the Easter, which is the Sunday. Now let me move on. Another congratulations to some officers completed, I think, 33 years yesterday. Deputy Commissioners Mark Bean, Watts, and I think Deputy Superintendent Elton Davidson. They joined. There's some confusion as to when they joined, but I think they say the thing is that April 1st is recognized as their anniversary. And I saw something that made me laugh last night. That German congratulated Mr. McBean on his anniversary and said, at least you did not name a toilet after you. And people asking me over and over, what is he referring to? What he, she, it, they, them, whatever the pronoun is referring to. So I had to tell them, well, he's referring to Watts. When Watts was at Lenora, when he was in charge at Lenora, there's a toilet, some ablution block built there and named after him, after Watts. So it's a Watts toilet. So the thing was actually taking a dig at Mark to say, well, you're not taking a dig at Mark, you're taking a dig at Watts and saying, yeah, you observe your anniversary, well, at least you never name a toilet after yourself. So that is what it is. So those of you who would have seen it, that is what the thing is about. So congratulations to them on reaching 33 years in the organization. And I think the police put it out there and so on. Now let me move on. The first thing I want to talk about, let me pull it up here. We have spoken about this thing on several occasions, and it seems not to be getting through. I refer here to a report where a captain from Pretty Paul's company, trawler captain or whatever captain, said that now they caught people. Well, not the captain saying, Pretty Paul reported that the people stole prawns. The men on the boat stole prawns. How much million? 2 million worth. Let me read a quick short thingy. A captain and 4 crew members were caught stealing 5 baskets of prawns worth approximately $2 million while operating a vessel belonging to Pretty Paul Singh Investments, Inc. at sea. The men departed Georgetown on the 6th of March and returned on the 15th. The incident, captured on surveillance camera installed on the vessel, occurred on March 14. According to information gathered by the newsroom, the theft came to light when the footage was reviewed upon the return of the vessel, a protocol consistent with company rules. Upon review, the men were seen placing baskets filled with prawns from their catch down the ice hole into the cabin. They subsequently passed the basket into the sea, presumably to a small boat. An official from Pretty Paul Investment told newsroom that the company's safety coordinator took a statement from the captain, who reportedly admitted to stealing and selling the prawns. The official stated that an attempt was made to file a report at the Providence police station, but they were advised that the report had to be filed closer to where the incident occurred. That is the part. These people are alleging that the people, while on sea, they stole 5 baskets of prawns worth $2 million. Right? Stealing 5 baskets of prawns worth $2 million. I suspect is Guyana dollars they're talking about. But when they went, the official stated an attempt was made to file a report at the Providence police station, but they were advised that the report had to be filed closer to where the incident occurred. Now, this is an incident that occurred at sea. This is an incident that occurred at sea. And they are telling the people that you got to file closer to where the incident occurred. What nonsense is that? CC, you want to explain? Let me bring you in. I got a call coming through.
Well, the thing is, stealing prawns is nothing new, I'm in the late 80s when I was OC Rumvelt. We used to get plenty of reports on that, more about stealing prawns. Because they used to, small boats will go out on the sea and link up with those trawlers, and then would sell off the prawns. Prawns is very expensive. But coming back to the point where we're saying that if you're going to make that each station, you have to accept people report, and there's something called in transit report, where you say you send a message or you send a report to the station in which the jurisdiction in which the offense took place, the station district. So you can't go and say, well, you gotta go to some other station. Accept the report, take statements, take the initial action, and you forward to the station in question so they can deal with it. Too many times we're hearing this is not this. You can't report it's a breakdown. You gotta go to Alberton, or you can't report Alberton. You gotta go Providence, and all kind of nonsense. You have to take the report, take statements, do the necessary documentation, and then forward it to the station concerned.
I'm on mute. Sorry, I'm on mute. I muted to take a call and I forget to unmute. You know, the old age, you know, old age. So my apologies to that. I was saying that these are the things that they should be looking at. A report of an incident that occurred at sea. You're telling them they must report to a police station nearest to which the incident occurred. What nonsense is that? What nonsense is that? They have a responsibility to take the report, and as Mr. Conway said, there's something you call in-transit report. If the offense was not committed within that particular station district, then you take the report and you do the necessary, you forward it to the relevant station district. You might even go so far to take statement from the people who are making the report. But this is something that happens over and over, and people are reporting it, and apparently nothing is being done. Nothing is being done to these ranks who are, it's neglect of duty. And if you want to know the section under the Police Discipline Act, Chapter 1701, it's contrary to Section 4E1 of the Police Discipline Act, Chapter 1701, neglect, which says that anything, if you would neglect to do anything which is your duty as a member of the force to do, it's a neglect, 4E1, contrary to 4E1. And this thing is happening too frequently. And the squatter and these people, if you really want to talk about making sure that you get cooperation from the public and you're a professional and you talk about this academy, these are the things you have to make sure that people are taught in transit report. And when incidents like these are reported, maybe the overburdened OPR should be made to investigate who were the people responsible and take disciplinary action against them. I've already told you what the section is. It's a neglect. How can you tell people, a man who come to make the report, that you got to report to the nearest, the station nearest to which this incident occurred? What nonsense is that? And they are allowed to get away with these things. And that is why we have this breakdown, the relationship between members of the public and the men and the police. Because apart from that, not taking proper action, then you get to the stage where even when you're on the road now, the traffic and the general altercations after altercations on the road, altercation, people fighting, altercation on the road. There is one circulating now. Let me show you. There's one circulating now. I'm gonna show you it, and then we're gonna at the back end, we're gonna analyze it. This started to circulate, I think it was yesterday. Let me look and find it. This is it. Look at.
I know, right? Don't you find that so funny? Oh shit. Shit.
Let me show you two from another angle, and then we're gonna talk about it. Let me bring in CC for start off the ball rolling on this matter. CC, we saw this tape, two actor version from two different angles with the policeman. Let me hear what your views are, my brother.
Before that, let me clear up something, with Mark Bean and Watson Davison, Deputy Commissioner Mark Bean, Watson Davison, and what they thing put up, the to the third anniversary. Now, I recruited those people. I was the commandant for the college in Borbis. Excuse me. I was an ASP then. And I took in that squad on the 4th of April. The 4th of April. I took them in. They weren't sworn, and they were sworn sometime, I think about 2 weeks afterward, by Assistant Commissioner Bombury. So it is not true to say that McBreen, Watts, and others celebrated the 33rd anniversary in the Guyana Police Force. If that record is at the police headquarters, it is incorrect, and they need to correct it. On the 4th of April, I took them in at the college, and they started the training. I think about 2 weeks afterward, Assistant Commissioner Bombury swore them. Now coming back to this incident here. Here again, another incident, police and civilian, and more so traffic men. Here's the police right in the man's face. Right in his face, according to one of the clips that we saw. And there are too many incidents of police assaulting people and people as civilian assaulting them, vice versa. I've been calling for the longest while that they must have a behavioral science unit in the Guyana Police Force to deal with all levels, from the commissioner right down. Paul, we benefit from training in the behavioral science unit and in the FBI. There must be a behavioral science. I see the confirmed squatter in his presentation to the House's Conference, he going to establish a behavior unit. What is a behavioral unit? And here we say, this behavior unit is talking about a dedicated unit nestled within the welfare office, focused solely on the well-being of and ethical development of ranks. Let me repeat it. A dedicated unit nestled within the welfare office, focused solely in the well-being of ethical development of ranks. What nonsense is that? A behavioral unit you're talking about, you don't go to behavioral science or behavior something, and it's there within the welfare department to focus solely on the well-being and ethical development of ranks. A behavioral science unit got to stand on its own, and they got to deal with behavior. And you can pick up early warnings. You must have early warning system. Pick up early warnings, what's going on. And here's it, we talking about use of force. Look at it. Look at it. Use of force. And again there's no button. There's no less than lethal force. There's nothing there. They go there unprepared. And they go in there and they escalating situation. Or they creating their own problem. I see like the officer there was trying to de-escalate the situation where we pull out the aggressor who appeared to be a constable, and he pull him on one side, to bring things under control. But it's high time that they're starting to look at behavior. And don't tell me you're going to set up a behavior unit. It got to be behavioral science unit. And they can get assistance from the University of Guyana. I think the University of Guyana have a behavioral science department. Behavioral science department. So too many instances where involving clashes with civilian and members of the force, and most time the police wrong. And there's it, 3 police, I think it's 4 police getting a difficult time to restrain a one man. Nonsense. They need to focus more on behavior of policemen, and it got to be embedded in our training from the top right down to the bottom.
Yeah, I fully agree. And let me show this thing back, the first part of it, before I make my comments. Here we go.
I know, right? Don't you find that so funny?
We don't know what led to this. There's no release from the police that I have seen what led to this. But you can see the policeman right up in the man's face, gesticulating and pointing and boxing away yarn and all this everything. The man retaliated, threw a punch, and all that. This thing is a worrying thing, you know. On the last occasion when we talk about it, traffic ranks again, where the civilian, in our view, had violated the space of the police, and then the police backs away the phone that he was pushing to take away thing and so on. This time, clearly, this policeman is up in the face of this man, gesticulating and all of that. No, it is clear that they don't have any proper training. And if they have proper training, it is clear that that person's behavior is not suited for the job that he is doing. Let's understand this. Because if you are a professional, see somebody say, well, maybe the police frustrated. And that is where the training comes in. Because the training is going to tell you how you respond or how you react to situations like that. And you have got to be trained to de-escalate the situation. So even if you encounter someone who is aggressive, you, the trained professional, has to know, or you have to know, how to deal with it. And not allow it to escalate to the point where blows are rained on people. Let's see how this is going to play out. And you know, I'm reminded, someone told me, someone messaged me yesterday, I'm reminded, back in the early 2000s, when you had confrontation between police and members, led to the death of 20-something policemen on the road. 20-something, I would always remember the policeman who was directing traffic in Regent Street. Gunmen just passed on Ridley, all because he was wearing a police uniform. And I'm saying that we got to deal with these things, that we, the authorities, have to deal with it so that this thing don't escalate. Because you can clearly see with the level of disrespect and the level of violence, people got looked the other day, a man take a spade, run into a yard, pick up a spade, and lash a policeman in uniform with the spade. One can very well imagine if someone has some sharp instrument or even a gun, God forbid, they're going to use it. They are going to use it. So this thing is very, very serious. And every now and again, the minister, I never heard him making a statement about this. I think he did, but I can't recall what he said. And the squatter ain't saying nothing. The police unit there, the police association, these people should come out with statements and not only words, but make sure that action is taken to deal with these matters. On the last occasion, or the last one that we reported on, but they are so frequent now, the two brothers, I think they were charged, and they were put on bail or something like that. Charged and you don't hear anything further. We didn't hear what happened to the policemen. Because clearly the policeman acted inappropriately. But these actions are going unpunished, and therefore they will continue. They are going unpunished, and they will continue. Mr. Conway, anything else you want?
As you rightly said, you know, that the police is lack of training, and unless they take it very seriously, you know. Here's it. Policeman right up in the man's face. Right up in the face. And then, you know, and then you see four police there. Four police there, you know. The behavior is, I can't find words to describe them. That police has got to behave properly. And in terms of use of force, they got to know when to use force and when not to use force, when to use minimum force. You know, the whole thing is, and the thing is, this thing is continue, you know. Maybe every week you're seeing incidents of police in confrontation with members of the public, and they're going to spread. Paul, you mentioned when policemen die, yeah, it was 26 policemen die in the line of duty, and because you're a policeman, they used to target you. That police were afraid to wear uniform. They come into work in civilian clothes and just at the station we think well, we hope those days don't come back. But then how things is going on that the people ain't get no respect for the police. People ain't get no respect for the police. and police cannot really effectively defend themselves. We saying like they're doing physical training, like they're doing on unarmed combat. They're doing on unarmed combat. They're doing self defense. The whole thing called for a comprehensive package to deal with force, and it stemmed down to behavior. As saying, and I'm repeating myself, there is need for a behavioral science unit in the Ghana police force to address behavior, not a behavior unit. So say behavior unit, you're talking here nonsense. You're not clear. A behavioral science unit.
A behavioral science unit, yes, yes, yes. I know one of the students comment here and put it up to say the same rank came into the command center and handled the Sergeant Paris and Inspector Smith, and nothing had happened. So it would appear from what we're seeing, this might be a rank with some attitude issues, and that is what you got to look into. That is what you have to look into, because it would appear that this is not an isolated incident, right? There's not an isolated incident. So you got to take this thing, deal with this thing seriously, deal with it seriously. And the person to deal with it is the squatter. He is in command of the force, and he got to call them to address this thing and address it properly, or else next thing you know, policemen are people going to chop policemen, people are going to wound policemen on the road, and you don't want that. And you might get back to the stage where people target policemen and kill them all because of the breakdown in the whole system. Breakdown. Now let me go on. Let me move on. I want to know where should start. Let me start first. We have so many things to tell you about this morning. I want to make sure we start at the right place. I want to start first with the harassment of former Minister Winston Jordan. Harassment by the government using the police force to harass Winston Jordan. Right? Winston Jordan was the finance minister during the coalition administration. Brilliant man. I've been telling you to listen to him on Camp TV on Thursday morning, some 7:30, where he analyzes budget and monetary issues and finances and that type of thing. He's an economist, perhaps the best in the country. He analyzes these things. And he's very critical of some of the things that the PPP government, the current government, is doing. And it is my view that because of that, they are targeting him. So what happened? Back in 2021, I get the dates correct, I get the dates. Back in 2021, he was charged for misconduct in public office. First charge in December of 2021. They claimed that he signed some vesting order to some property that BK has. They call it Mudflat Kingston, and they say it was undervalued, right? So he undervalued. So it's a misconduct in public office because he willfully did these acts. That matter went through the court, preliminary inquiry, right? The question as to whether, because they talk about the act being committed by a public officer, the question as to whether he was at the time a public officer came into question. The magistrate said that he was not a public officer, so the charge was bad. Now, there was a previous ruling in the Ashley Singh case where Ashley held either the same or similar position as Minister of Finance, and the court then ruled that he was a public officer, right? Now, what happened? The magistrate dismissed the case. No case submission, case gone against Winston Jordan. That was when? That case was dismissed. It started, first charge in 2021, case dismissed and no case submission. After the dismissal of that case, the DPP, the Director of Public Prosecutions, employed a special prosecutor to file an application or what in the High Court to have Winston Jordan arrested and committed to stand trial for this misconduct in public office, which is alleged to have committed way back in 2020 or something like that. Right? Now, the matter went to the High Court. The acting Chief Justice ruled on the matter. And the acting Chief Justice, as we said on Monday's program, excoriated the prosecution because they're saying, look, they were holding on to the point that the magistrate ruled that he was not a public officer, and therefore that was the fault. But the Chief Justice said she agreed that he was not a public officer. But there was no other evidence outside of that. There was no evidence to link him to any misconduct. No evidence. And therefore, she dismissed this application. That was in, this application was dismissed last year, 2023. The thing was dismissed in February of 2024, to get it correct. The Chief Justice dismissed this application that was brought by the Director of Public Prosecutions after the magistrate dismissed the case against Jordan. Matter went before Chief Justice, and in February of 2024, last year, over a year ago, this matter threw out. Now, can you imagine now? They come, it was last week, Thursday, I think it was. They summoned Jordan again for a similar offense, misconduct in public office. Right? An offense they are alleging took place, let me get it, back in 2020, between February 25 and June 11, 2020. This is 2025. The chargee said that he did this act since then. That is harassment. And for the students, we spoke about it on Monday, and some people want to know if it's not double jeopardy and so on. No, it's not double jeopardy, because while the charge is the same, the date of offense and the particulars of the offense are different. Because in this case, they are claiming that he signed some vesting order over 5 acres of land situated at Plantation, Bedford-Wacton, and Sparnam on the east coast of Demerara. The first one that was dismissed had to do with the mud flat at Kingston. So it is not double jeopardy, because the charge is the same, but the particulars are different. But my contention is, this thing is alleged to have taken place since 2020. Since 2020. Why did you not at the same time charge you for the mud flat arrangement, charge you again for this BV and Sparnam thing at the same time, back in 2021, December, when you file this charge? But the charge, first one dismissed. You do all sort of legal maneuver to have him committed and to stand trial after the magistrate dismiss the case. You ain't get through with that. Now you come and you're bringing this charge in March of 2025, saying that this offense was committed back in 2020. That is wickedness, vindictive maliciousness. And let me say this. It is clear, in my view, that SOCU, that political arm of the PPP, a police unit where they control, they would have been instructed, because no one can convince me that SOCU decided at this stage, this late stage, some 4+ years after, right? Or 5+ years after, well, we can bring up this charge. No way. They would have been instructed, because Mr. Jordan is there on Thursdays analyzing, and as we said, this is election year. Jordan making it look bad, because all these statements that they come up with, when Jordan analyzes it, even the budget presentation, when he analyzes these statements, they're laid bare. So they are trying to silence him, as they have been trying to do to others, like Melly Mel, like the Mohammeds, like Speaking Out. They're trying to silence you once you come out and bring the facts to the people. They want the propaganda only to go out there. So here it is, all these years after, they decide they're going to charge Mr. Jordan again for an offense they're claiming that he committed back in 2020. People understand this thing clearly. They are just using these agencies, the police, the GRA, and all of them, to target people who are speaking the truth and who are calling them out for their corruption and so on. That is what they're doing. Let me bring in Mr. Conway, and then we're going to think. CC, what are your views with this, what I call harassment of Winston Jordan?
I won't call it harassment. I call it persecution. Persecution. I said before in the last program, I said PPPC is police, is politics, is persecution, and is corruption. They want to silence people. They want to, and the Suku getting orders from Carmichael Street, and then with ridiculous ease, they're getting advice from Robert Walk to charge. And there's what's going on. Although they ain't get no evidence, they get in the air, proceed. And I said, all the time that the DPP is more political than legal. When you look at the case, it's more political than legal. And honestly, they wasn't for prosecute the man because he's speaking out and because he's making the economics activities look like nonsense. And it's continuing. And I'm saying, and I repeat myself, that the DPP is more political than legal. And that is what happening all the time.
Yeah, yeah. Let me. I did some research and I found where the current attorney general, when they were in opposition, right? They had filed a private criminal charge against Walter Lawrence and George Norton. Listen to this carefully, folks. Listen to this. And I think the attorney general, the current attorney general, represented Ejil and someone named Vikram Bharat. You remember them? Last week, parliamentarians. One Ejil, Vikram Bharat, two former Attorney General Anil Nandlal, moved to file private criminal charges against these people. Walter Lawrence and George Norton for misconduct in public office in relation to some bond in Albistown, Sussex Street, Albistown. Right? Now, let me understand what the thing is. The DPP at the same DPP discontinued those charges against Lawrence and Norton. Same DPP discontinued the charges. Like she discontinued the 19 fraud charges against the current president. Like she discontinued the charge against Nandalal. Like she discontinued the charge against Ashley Singh and Brassington. She discontinued the charges. And she asked that authority under the law, Section 187 of the Constitution. And let me read what it says. Section 187. Some people ask the question because you got to realize that the DPP is the authority, the constitutional authority for all criminal charges, whether they are public or whether they are private. Public means whether they are instituted by any one of the government agencies, police, KANU, GRA, and any one of those are public charges. Now, also private criminal charges. So if you institute a private criminal charge against anyone, the DPP has the legal authority to discontinue too because it's a criminal charge. And hear what Section 187 of the Constitution says. The DPP shall have power in any case in which he considers it desirable to do so. A, to institute and undertake criminal proceedings against any person before any court other than a court-martial in respect of any offense against the law of Guyana. B, to take over and continue any such criminal proceedings that may have been instituted by any other person or authority. And C, to discontinue at any stage before judgment is delivered any such criminal proceedings instituted or undertaken by him or any other person or authority. So the DPP has an authority. Once you file a private charge, once it then reaches to the stage where a decision is handed down, she can intervene. So that is what she did with this matter, right? Then the Attorney General then was the same, well, not the Attorney General, sorry. Nandalal then, who was in the opposition, made some statements. He said there's absolutely no legal requirement that the allegation must first be reported to the police and the advice of the DPP sought. Well, before I read that, let me tell you what the DPP had said. The DPP had said, in the interest of good governance, hear what the DPP wrote. She's quoted as saying, and this is April 24, 2018. I think it might have been Kaicho News, I'm not sure. But hear what the DPP is quoted as saying, in the interest of good governance in the state of Guyana, such allegations ought to first have been reported to the Guyana Police Force for an investigation to be launched and the advice of the DPP sought. That is what she said. Remember, private criminal charges instituted by Nandalal on behalf of Ejil, same Ejil, the bishop and Barat, they instituted private criminal charges against Lawrence and Norton, who were then PNC coalition ministers. The DPP said, in the interest of good governance in the state of Guyana, such allegations ought to first have been reported to the Guyana Police Force for an investigation to be launched, and the advice of the DPP sought that an allegation must first be reported to the police, and the advice of the DPP sought. In fact, in many instances, it is the failure of the Guyana Police Force to act or to act professionally that led to the evolution and practice of private criminal charges. This is what Nandela said back then, you know. The position, he goes on, the position adopted by the DPP on this occasion will retard the advancement of our criminal jurisprudence and stultify the right and freedom of the citizens to institute and prosecute a private criminal charge without the involvement of the state. I feel the DPP discontinuance of the charges against the two ministers, but apparent refusal to do likewise in relation to Singh and Brassington charges smack of Singh and Brassington charges smacks on discrimination and inequality before the law. That is what Nandela said then. That the fact that she discontinued the charge against, because at the time, you know, this guy is not a rapist. What he is saying, that he discontinued, or she discontinued the charges against Lawrence and Norton, right? But she hadn't discontinued the charge against Singh and Brassington, which she did when the government came into office. So, Jesus Christ, you can't believe this. These things are unbelievable. So Nandela will argue that she discontinued against Lawrence and Norton, but she did not discontinue against Singh and Brassington. That was in 2018. However, as soon as the PPP came into office, she discontinued against Singh and Brassington, Nandlal and Irfan Ali. You think this place is easy? How people can have respect for the law? People can have no respect for the law? None at all. So I thought I'd bring that to your attention, students, to show you how this thing, Animal Farm, all animals are equal, but some are more equal than others. Because I have a strong suspicion, and this is the point I want to make, that the DPP would have pronounced on this recent charge against Winston Jordan. And given the fact that Article 187 of the Constitution gives her a certain authority in criminal charges, if she did not, let me see if she can discontinue the charge against Winston Jordan. If she did not authorize, or if she did not recommend this criminal charge against Jordan, which is alleged that he committed himself since 2020, they bring the charge now in 2025. If she did not approve of it, let's see her now decide to discontinue the charge, as she did with Irfan Ali, Anil Nandalal, Ashley Singh, and Brassington, and many others that she did. Let's see where that will go. Let me bring in Mr. Conway. CC, let me hear your view on this matter, man.
But I'm going to say, I'm going to repeat myself. It's political rather than legal. It's political rather than legal.
I read in a statement, somebody said, well, I remember that too, Winston, that in 2018, Agil had filed private criminal charges against David Patterson and Winston Jordan in respect of the Durban Park Stadium. His lawyer was Nandalal. His Agil lawyer was Nandalal. The matter was discharged by the DPP. Well, not discharged, it was discontinued by the DPP on the grounds that the matter had to be first reported to the police, and in the interest of good governance, Agil was promptly sued 400 million in May 2020, nearly 7 years ago. The matter came up in court once during that time. So Winston Jordan sued Juan Agil, the Bishop, for $400 million in respect to the same private criminal charge that he instituted against him. And the matter, that was in 2018. The matter came up once in the court. And you hear nothing more. You're not hearing anything more about that matter. That is the problem you have. That is the problem. People can't respect the law because the thing is clearly discriminatory. Clearly discriminatory. I made a report, and Mr. Conway was there, on the 15th of October 2021 against a cybercrime report against Anil Nandlal, the Attorney General, at Brigdam Police Station, which was located in the St. Stanislas compound at the time. I made that report. I provided them with the offending transcript. It was an issues on the news on the 29th of June. He made the remarks. I provided them with that transcript, report, and a statement. I was in company. When I went to Brigdam, Mr. Selwyn Peters, my lawyer, accompanied me, along with CC, who is on the program, you know. Up to now, nothing had happened. Nothing had happened. Nothing. So that is the problem that you have. That is the problem. They're using SOCU and other government agencies to discriminate and to target certain people. To target people. Now, let me bring in back Mr. Conway if he wants to say anything more on this, and then we're going to move into the next subject. Do you see anything more?
No, I don't want to say anything more. All I'm saying is that, political rather than legal, and that Suku is a political arm of the government, and that Suku taking directions from Carmichael Street, and they're running to Rabbit Walk, and with ridiculous ease, they get information or get advice to charge. And that is the whole story.
Let me say this too, because CC had mentioned it before. These charges, when they are instituted, they know, I suspect that they know that they don't have a ghost of a chance of getting past no case submission. They know. So good charges don't get past no case submission, except the one with the thieving of the logbook, where they allege that Nandlal stole logbook. That got past the no case submission, and he was called upon to lead the defense, and also after legal maneuver in the appeal court and all of that. And they waited until the government changed, and then the same DPP discontinued the charge. So that is what happened. But they know they can't get no conviction on these charges. But all they want to do is to drag you through the mud, get your name in the thing, put you in handcuff, and get you paraded around the place like if you're a criminal. And the real criminals, according to GSK Lal, the real gangsters are members of the PPP. The real gangsters are members of the PPP, right? But they're using the state system to go after people who they perceive as the political opponents or enemies. That is what is going on. That is what is going on. Now let me move on to the next subject. And the next subject is a sweet one. How much time? Oh, we get about 45 minutes more. I had promised somebody that we could go into this Lee case. It looked like we can't reach it this morning, brothers. Now, the one that I want to go into now, let me tell you what I'm going into now. I'm going into the Melly Mel matter. So y'all share the live. Share the live. I let them know Slogan analyze the whole Melly Mel situation again. Slogan analyze the Melly Mel situation again. Tell them, Sloan Conway will now analyze this Melly Mel thing again. Let me remind y'all that Melly Mel was detained by the U.S. immigration people a couple of weeks ago, and she was in custody at Louisiana, a facility in Louisiana in the U.S. And, oh God, they jump out. They came in out, as the one man had said. They came in out. They jump out. They came and they said she's there for credit card fraud. She's there she was used as a conduit to funnel money to terrorists, all kind of thing that came out. And we guided, we advised that we wait to hear what is the story. Now it transpired last Friday when she appeared. First of all, she was to appear sometime in June, I think, 25th of June, for what they call this master's hearing. Not a trial, a judge to determine preliminary arrangement. So it was brought forward. I don't know why it was brought forward, don't ask me. It came forward and it was last week Friday. And in defiance of the court, they streamed it live. I saw the stream. So if they want, I can give evidence that I saw the stream. I saw the stream when I understand that the judge has specifically stated Melly Mel had she was on a guest on Bench Cup last night, and she said that during the course of the thing, they saw a lot of news agencies on the Zoom, and it was questioned, who are all these people? And she said that Enrico Wilford from Capital News identified and said, well, look, this lady is a social activist from Guyana, and this matter has generated a lot of interest. And that is why they're there to see. And I understand the court said, no, media must be here. And the thing, notwithstanding, they violated that and they streamed it, right? And then those of us who saw, or we would have read after, the judge wanted to know why the woman was there, because the lawyer that represented the immigration department conceded that all her documentations were in order, and she was going through a process to get what they call adjustments of status. And the judge questioned at least on 2 occasions why she was there. And then she was put on $7,500 bond, which we call bail. And again, they jump out over the weekend. This is a Friday this thing happened. They jump out over the weekend because she wasn't released immediately. But when you get bail, you're going to get released. You got to go through a process. You have to go through a process. Even in Georgetown, when you're put on bail, you got to go through. And as I said Monday, you can't bail yourself. You got to get people to bail you. The records have to be made. Your records have to be made. And that, unfortunately, I think for her, it was a Friday. And therefore, a lot of things could not have been done over the weekend. So it would appear that she was in custody, because she remained detained until Monday when she was released. Now, she came out with a statement yesterday. And I want to read the statement and we're going to analyze it. Because not for them crapo and them amphibian and the agents with fancy number 009 license to lick BT and all them things, they came out and they were saying, oh, the Guyana government is not involved. That is a clear immigration. I said then on Monday and before, and I'm saying again, given the way things transpired, I am sure that the government of Guyana had a hand in it. Sure that they were able to influence some agency to go after Melly Mel. So Melly Mel made a public statement yesterday. Here she said, I hereby issue the following statement in the form of questions and answers on matters that might be of interest to all and sundry. Come on, y'all share the live. This thing getting more sweet. Share the live. Here the first question. First, well, before they go to the questions, it's a first. Special thanks to those who provided me with support, from monetary contributions to messages, posts, and comments. Big thank you to the 592 Comment Association. I was honestly in tears at the overwhelming amount of support myself and family received. The American system has worked. The United States of America is the best place on earth for those who fight causes for humanity. The American systems and institutions remain strong as ever. Thank you, America. First question, was the government of Guyana involved in my detention? Hear what she says. Yes. The answer is yes. They were deeply involved. How do I know this? The personal information which was revealed through the political operatives such as critics in Guyana could not have been known unless there was someone on the inside of the U.S. bureaucracy feeding this information to a lobby firm, which in turn passed that information to the PPP source. No one in Guyana could have known so quickly that I was being detained and taken to ICE office at that hour in the morning. No one could have known my U.S. identification numbers unless it was leaked from the inside and passed to a lobby firm, which in turn passed it to the PPP operatives. No one could have known I overstayed my visa by 2 days before marriage unless it came from the inside. The PPP activists who called ICE specifically refer to the 2-day overstay, which was a loophole identified by the lobbying firm. This is coordinated at the highest level. Who instructed PPP operatives to report my marriage more than 25 times to immigration as a business wedding? Who directed a PPP operative to make reports at the precinct about our nudes being leaked by me? PPP operatives did. They tried everything and failed. until a lobbying firm that comes at the expense of the taxpayers found a loophole and used their connection on behalf of the Guyana government. Second question, does Melly Mel have a criminal record? My detention officially destroyed any narrative that I have any ties to criminals or criminal activities. The US government swept their system 10 times over. All stones were overturned, and there is nothing. I have a clean bill of health. I am a law-abiding human rights activist. What will Melly Mel stop doing? Will Melly Mel stop due to this experience? For those who think I am traumatized and will go silent, think again. The work has now started. The PPP has made me bigger than before. I am now in a position to expose the corruption on a global level that has never been seen before. While in detention, I received overwhelming support from major international organizations who have offered me special membership and their resources and services. I have created websites while in detention. I have completed work that will fortify my activities here. We are now getting started. Thanks to the government of Guyana for making me into a global figure. Couldn't have done it without your overwhelming corrupt narratives. Then the next question, are my sources in trouble? No. My phone remains secured and was always with me at all times. No source has been compromised. What experience have I gained? While in detention, I met human rights activists from all over the globe, from the Congo to Venezuela. They have given me insights into which I will use to aid me. Thanks again. Keep watching this space. I love it. I love it. And I am saying that the government had to have had a hand in it. And she's talking here now. They employ a lobbying firm. It is said that the government of Guyana has employed a lobbying firm in the US. They pay them $50,000 a month to lobby. You know what is lobby? For go on for talk good about them, talk bad about other people, try to get to the people and so on. That is what it is saying. But Melly Mel made the point. She asked them, how could they have known early morning? Apparently the ice swooped down on her. And she's saying that the only way they could have known that, for example, the only way they could have known that she overstayed her time or visa by 2 days. 2 days. Got married, went through the process, according to what they're saying, got our status, I think it's a temporary green card. I've gone through the process, had interviews with her husband and all of that, going through the process to get our green card regularized, well, not regularized, to get a permanent green card, lawful permanent resident status. And apparently what she claimed in the lobbying firm saw that loophole and decided they're going to use that loophole to inform ICE about our activities, and they swooped down on her. And they created a narrative that it had to do with credit card fraud. It had to do with a whole kind of things. And listen to, she gave her first interview last night on Mark Benchcap program. I was fortunate, somebody sent it to me, and I got the greater part of it. I'm going to go back and look to see it from the beginning. Because she made some starting revelation as to all that transpired with her marriage, when she got married, and all this everything. All of those things she revealed. She did not hold back. But what I love is that she has made it clear that they believe that they're silent shit. They lie. They lie. They're not silent. She has not been silenced. She has not been silent. She said they're gonna make her stronger. That, hold on, I get to the call which is disrupting this thing. Yeah, that is gonna make her stronger. And you know, it reminds me, they believe everybody is like, what you name, man? You remember the man? Y'all tell me, the man they come out, the one who was a guardian of democracy. Max. Remember Mad Max or something used to call it? He was a guardian of democracy. He came out, he cussed out Jack Dio, he do all sort of thing. All sort of revelation he come out. They charged him for some dangerous driving charge. And then he went by UG Road, I think, sometime after. And some man confront him with a baseball bat, give some lash and thing. And like he gone, he gets silent, they close him out. You hardly hear anything from him since then. So they believe everybody can be dealt with like that. But you know, I have said because they tried with me too, you know. They tried with me. And I have said, I'll quote it again, right? I said, let it be known to all, Brian Max, yes, student, right? Brian Max, that's the man. He's silent. You don't hear, so that believe me, Mel and Paul Slow are the same. And hear what I'm saying. Let me quote UC Anderson again. Let it be known to all and sundry, I fear not yesterday, not tomorrow, not today, and not ever any creature known to man, irrespective of the office they hold. I am not possessed by a spirit of fear. I am possessed by no spirit of fear. Perhaps Mel is the same. Not possessed. I will come and I will tell you the truth. By now, people have complimented us for doing research and bringing you concrete stuff. Not rumors and all of that. Concrete stuff. And we will continue to do so. They don't want to hear the truth. And because they don't want to hear the truth, Slow, Speaking Out, Conway, and others are going to come and we're going to bring the truth to you. They're threatening, they're threatening to say, they're threatening me. Back in 2021, I got word that they were going into certain places and seeking people to silence Slow. And when I spoke out about it publicly, Nandlal, I can call the name, man. I know some of my family members don't like when I call name, but I can call the name because it's on the record. He said that Slow was only seeking attention. That is how he brushed that allegation aside. Not somebody can investigate and anything. Slow is seeking attention. Then later, sometime last year, before the last, some of them met at a bar on the East Coast. I know the name of the bar. I know the people who met there and all that. At a bar on the East Coast. And during the discourse, they said that we have to turn Slow into next Crummy Wing. Crummy Wing was assassinated in April, I think it was, or March, at Diamond on the East Bank. He was protesting and calling on people to vote against the PPP at the time. They were in government. He had started in front of the chambers of the Attorney General in Carmichael Street, and then he moved it. They shoot and kill him. They shoot and kill him. Kwame McCoy, who is now a government minister, was arrested in connection with that. A driver who drove the Nandalal E2 was arrested in connection with that. That did not go any place. So they sat and they said, they're going to talk. I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid. I have mentioned before on this program, again, my family don't like me say it, but I'm going to say it nevertheless. The most irrational fear us human beings have is the fear of death, because we all have to die. We all have to die. So we got to just prepare for that date, which will definitely come. You can't escape that. No matter how rich you are, no matter how poor you are, no matter how all them millions and billions that you're thieving, you got to die one day. And let me remind them, when you're dead, you can't carry them things with you. You cannot take them with you. All the money that you're thieving, all the wrong that you're doing, your day of reckoning will come. Your day of reckoning will come. Let me bring you Mr. Conway to comment on this Mel saga, man. See, I know you're itching to say something about that Mel story. Let me hear you. Let the students hear you.
Well, the whole idea was to silence Mel. Just like how they want to silence those persons who are speaking out against the government. And the thing is that, the government was actively involved. As you mentioned, they employ a lobbyist, over $10 million Ghana a month plus and counting. And they created the impression that, hey, she was a criminal. She committed criminal act. She had visa fraud. She had credit card fraud. And the only issue with the visas that she overstayed by 2 days. It came out in the evidence there. 2 days. And she has applied for adjustment. She's legally married. She ain't married by fraud, or as the case may be. And they had to be actively involved. And as she mentioned, certain things had to come from the government that they fed to their lobbyists. But the American system is generally fair, in certain respect. That persons will get a right to be heard. Perhaps they didn't realize that. They believe maybe if they get the lobbyists to make certain allegations, there's the end of Melly Mel. That's the end of the Melly Mel. But the system over there is vastly different. That she had a right to be heard, and she was heard. And the judge even said, "Hey, where you bring she for?" And they were making arrangements here, Paul, to go to Timeri and collect her, put her in handcuff, wish her away, put her away to lockups, and then to court in handcuff. You think there's a plans what they had, So I'm happy that Melly Mel challenged it, and I hope that others will challenge too. I know they're trying with us. I know they're trying with you, Paul. They're trying with me. The cameras don't lie. The cameras don't lie, and they ain't get good informants. They ain't get good informants. Cameras don't lie. So I'm happy for Melly Mel, and happy that hey Melly Mel decided hey she's not gonna stay easy. That she's gonna talk. That it made it, what happened to her made her bolder, and she's gonna talk and she's gonna be more active. And I'm happy with the kind of support that she had. The GoFundMe support. I'm happy with the support that she had. People came out and really, really supported her. And I'm sure she'll continue to get the support. But she gotta look out because they're gonna come again with some nonsense. They're gonna come again with some nonsense.
Yeah, because remember, give yourself authority now. They are the global police, They are the global police. They can come to the US, or they can come to UK, or they can come to Barbados and serve summons and all sort of thing. They can do all of that. And then, they like to put their foot in their mouth, They argued some years ago when they sent them out to serve a summons and work in New York that they had authority, the man should have authority. And then it was sometime last year, I think late last year, when they opened the Maburuma Code. Nonetheless, they say Attorney General made big statement, I have it somewhere, that the courts in Guyana are territorial. That is what they use. Territorial mean they only have power in Guyana. But a short time before that, he claimed that they got power to serve summons in to issue summons to people outside of Guyana. Karma is a bitch. Remember, we always tell you karma is a bitch. God don't sleep. God don't sleep. And I told you all when I quote the thing, let me make sure I tell you all again. Remember, I tell you all the Bible. The Bible is a good book. Many of us don't read it, and many of us read it. We don't practice what we see. And I tell you all about Psalms 35. Psalms 35. Weeping may endure for the night, but joy cometh in the morning. Weeping may endure for the night, but joy cometh in the morning. So yeah, all them jumping up, and they were joyful over Melly Mel's arrest. She's out now free, and I'm so glad. I'm happy to hear that she decided that she ain't gonna shut up. Because when you listen to that interview last night on Bench Cup there, it is clear. As I have said before, and I will say now, I am not always in favor or in agreement with the language that she uses. Very explicit, colorful language that she uses. But that's her style. I am more interested in the substance, the corruption that is pointed out. They are interested in the corruption. And as far as I'm aware, now that Melly Mel went through there, and even the U.S. authorities admitted in court last Friday that she has no criminal record. She's not a flight risk and all that. She has no criminal record. The only crime that she committed, according to them, is exposing corruption. That's the only crime, all the corruption that she's exposing. And one would have thought, and there got to be some truth to it, because one would have thought that if the things were untrue, then you would have also to investigate and skin her up, as we would say. If allegations are made and you're confident that these allegations are untrue, one would expect a responsible government will cause a credible investigation to be done and show that the woman is lying. They are not able to do so. They have not even tried to do so. And so therefore,
the allegations have a lot of credibility. But I say, Calm is a bitch. One of the persons who the leading the thing against Melly Mill, you understand, is the one known as Guyanese critic. The Scaly ass at the name. Mikhail Rodriguez, known as Guyanese critic. He leading the Scaly ass at the name. The little Scaly one another name. It's a name calling thing. Right? That's how we calling the man shoot and scoot. They get named the Scaly one another. Right? He the Scaly, she smelly smell. She the Scaly, big balls, all sort of thing. She takes all sort of thing. Boredness, all sort of name. Yeah. But you know, he was one who was against Melly. They up on the thing every day. A couple days ago, I tell her, your Calm is a bitch. You know? God, you know, Monday, he had made some statements about the Mohammeds, and they sued him for $52 million, Guyana dollars, little bit money. They've sued him for $52 million, right? And they got default judgment, meaning he didn't represent the thing. He got default judgment against him, and he appealed. Well, on Monday last, the High Court dismissed an appeal of the $52 million filed by social media commentator Mikhail Rodriguez, also known as Guyanese critics. They said Rodriguez had appealed the $52 million default judgment made in favor of businessman Nazar Mohammed and his son Asruddin. That was last July. Then, according to the release by the Mohammed's attorney, the judgment was upheld and the injunction remains in effect against Rodriguez and his media outlet, the Break News Inc., preventing further defamation of the Mohammeds. He had made statements and he defamed the Mohammed. The sui, apparently no proper representation was made or no representation at all, and they get default judgment. He appealed. Some Monday, the judge said, nah, you got to pay the $52 million and you got to ensure that you stop defaming these people. You got an injunction preventing you from repeating the defamatory statements and so on. $52 million. I understand that on yesterday's program, somebody said on yesterday's program, he said he ain't paying the money. Well, let me see where it will go. Because, you know, if a judgment is made and you ain't pay, then the people who got judgment can levy on your property and all sort of things to get the money. Me, I know if you get property for anybody, levy on. Somebody say he ain't going to pay, you must know that he's on solid grounds. Because he was represented by, the things say that, as we said, the Mohammeds were represented by UC Anderson and they say Rodriguez, I'm trying to find it here. He was represented by one of the PPP member of parliament who is a lawyer, right? That is what I don't see it here, so I'm gonna call him, right? But he was that is what happened. So Karma, I saw something. There gotta be a Alfonso joke, man. I saw something circulating yesterday that he has launched some thing to raise this money. Not GoFundMe, some other thing. I believe it's a joke. Because I see two people put $1 each. And at the time when this thing was published, they say he had raised $9. He had raised $9. Two people put $1. Somebody put something, but a couple of people contribute, and it amounted to $9, right? Amounted to $9. And this is not the first, it's not the first rodeo. Because remember, Simona Broom sued him for wholesale the money too. Right? And I don't know what has happened to that. I think he was trying to come to some compromise and all of that. But during the course of that trial in the High Court, he had streamed the hearing, which prompted the judge to summons him to court for contempt and fine him $100,000 and have to make a public apology and all of that. Karma, be careful what you wish for. Karma is a bitch. Karma is a bitch. Be careful what you wish for. All them wanted Melly Mel extradited and she coming home. They went so far as CC said, they organized reception at the airport to go there and all sort of things they're doing. All sort of things they're doing. They did similar to me in 2000 and it was 2000 and what year? 2020 when I was to travel back to Guyana. That they sent Soko to the airport and therefore arrest me when me arrived. Right? But I got more sense on them. I had the game. I did not arrive when they expected me to arrive. Right? I did not. So that is what they're doing. That is what they're doing. So yeah, continue to share, continue to share. CC, do you want to say anything more on this critics matter?
No, I ain't get time. I ain't get time for waste with critics, man. Critics is a spend force. I ain't got time for waste with critics.
But you don't know that he's a spend force. Now let me move on. We have promised to talk about this matter with this guy. Let me pull it up here. Now, Christopher Lee, and for us older folks like Percy, when we talk about Christopher Lee was a tall man who used to come in the Fu Manchu movies. Who remember that? Say if you remember the older guy, Fu Manchu, and all the pictures, all the movies with Fu Manchu. Christopher Lee was the main character. He would say, "The world shall hear from me again." Fu Manchu, the world shall hear from me again. Tall, slim guy, Christopher Lee. Well, and it was Christopher Lee and Peter Cushing and those people, Boris Karloff and those men back in the day, man, back in the day. So this is not that Christopher Lee. This is a Christopher Lee who used to work with the sheriff company, right? Made some damning allegations. He says he used to work with them and they had some problem where they accused him of stealing. They used to do cash in transit, pick up money from business places, deposit it at the bank and all of that. Yeah, Dracula, he also came in Dracula. Yes, Michael, Dracula, right? Fu Manchu and Dracula, those were his things. Now, so they claim that one money bag with some $1 million went missing. And the sheriff company started their own investigation. And the sheriff company claimed that the thing pointed to Christopher Lee, who was a supervisor, I think, with the company at the time, and somebody else. So what did they do? They pulled them in and they questioned them at length. It is alleged that Christopher Lee was beaten by Amir Ahmad, who is the chief executive or whatever the style of designation of sheriff group of companies. Beaten, tortured. God, the man said they strip you naked. There some crazy allegations, Strip you naked, spray Lysol on the genitals, put pornography for him to watch with the expectation that he can get an erection. All of these things the man claim. The man got a video, his image is blurred. We have a video making some serious allegations. Right? Serious allegations. And then what happened? The thing came out that they forced him, that's what he claiming, Christopher Lee claiming, they forced him to make a confession, a video recorded confession, to admit that he stole the money and he went to Oros and Gamble House where he spent all his money. That is what is on the video. Some nonsensical thing. But you can clearly see that when the statement was made, the man was under duress. He made the statement. As far as we are aware, there's been no investigation. But I don't expect any investigation. You know why? Because it is the same Amir Mohammed from Sheriff who, Ikin said, gave him $8.5 million to finance Brutus' wedding. So this man gave and we said then, and I'm repeating it, that is, you buy immunity, $8.5 million for a wedding gift, for finance a wedding. Police are going to do nothing. Police are not going to do nothing because the same Amir Ahmad, made an allegation against Terence Campbell that he threatened him over the telephone, and he went to the station, he made a report, and we told you then that a report like that, yes, you got to investigate, but you got to start, any report should be investigated. You got to start the investigation by taking a statement from the person who's making the report. He said the man threatened you over the phone, therefore you want to know what is the phone number, who else would have ordered and all of this, everything. But no, they don't go do that. Amir Mohammed make a report, you're going to say you investigated, maybe arrest people and all of that. Because Amir Ahmad, he was saying Mohammed around, Amir Ahmad, he gave the police $8.5 million for Brutus' wedding. So you can't expect no police to investigate it. Just like the man in the Essequibo Coast who gave the police 10 motor vehicles. When anything report against you, nobody ain't going to investigate. That is what is happening, is a quid pro quo. marked by the loyalty and the silence. So this matter is there. And I said because Francis Bailey, who is on social media and so on, speaks out against the same thing here too. Talks about this matter. This man, this same man, Amir Hamad, doing the guards, and nothing can happen. And as soon as he got a report, it appears as though he do people anything, he run to the police, he make a report, the police accepts his report, and then do no proper investigation. That is what is going on. But the day of reckoning will come. They're going to touch the wrong people or the wrong person. Somebody going to lose it altogether, when they touch these people. People going to lose it. So they got to be extremely careful. They got to be careful. I am cautioning them. The things that you're doing to people, you have got to be careful because some people might blow their fuse. Let me bring in Mr. Conway for him to say something on this. I think we get one matter, a serious matter we want to address a little later before we finish today. Go ahead, my brother.
I don't expect any kind of investigation to be done, in relation to the Christopher Lady matter. Because it's the same man who gave Hicken 8.5 and he only targeting, he put it in writing for the wedding of Brutus. And I wouldn't be surprised if there are any other donations of bigger magnitude that the police receive to give him protection. Therefore, what happened to Christopher Lee? They're gone under the under the thing there. That Christopher Lee, when we look the evidence that surfaced so far, is that they say he confessed, but did he confess? Was this confession voluntary, or was it threats of violence made against him, rewards, or hope of advantage? Threats, and the quid pro quo is something for something. Me give you $8.5 million just so. Plus me give you more money just so. I expect things in return. I expect preferential treatment. I expect if I commit myself, you won't bother with it. Or you won't swing around the story. So what playing out there is natural. It's what we expect to happen. Because the man has already bought immunity. Immunity from prosecution. Not even from prosecution. Immunity from doing a basic investigation. Immunity from putting an allegation to him. And that is the old story. You Paul, I was there with you when you made allegation against, when you made a report against Nanlal. You submit statement, you submit everything, nothing. More so, this one, we a man paying big time. Where we hear a man paying big time. We a man $8.5 million for wedding. What do you expect to happen? Nothing is going to happen. Nothing is going to happen.
And let me say this, based on what we said before with the role of the DPP, even if you were to file a private criminal charge, even if Christopher Lee is to file a private criminal charge against Amir Hamad, you can expect the DPP to intervene or to discontinue. Remember the other Bascom matter where he and the Bascom made certain allegations, and then the crime chief and Akin jumped out, called a press conference to debunk Bascom's story, right? And they were caught out, they were called out lying. And Bascom, through his lawyer, moved to file private criminal charges against the crime chief. And what the DPP did, she discontinued the private criminal charge. So even if you're to file a private criminal charge against Amir Ahmad, one can expect the DPP to intervene and to discontinue the matter. That has been the pattern, that has been the trend. Now, the next part I want to deal with, there was this incident last week, I think it was, on the quarantine, where Asruddin Mohammed went there, and he has been going around the country and getting a lot of support from both Indians and Africans, getting people coming out, calling out the government, saying they're fed up and they want a change. Well, that is not sitting well with the government. So what they're doing now, when he goes to certain places that they consider this stronghold, that are like on the quarantine, they're organizing people to go there and to disrupt whatever meeting, the 10-day workers and all of them. So there was this thing that we caught on camera, video, where he went to quarantine, and the other counter protests by some PPP activists and supporters. Some people say also the 10-day workers were bullied into going out. And one of the PPP supporters, we saw it, Indira Jafar Ali, assaulted one of the guys who was there, assaulted him. The police arrested the man who was assaulted. It would appear that following the assault, following Indira Jafar Ali assaulting this man, it would appear that she made a report to the police. And based on the report she made, the police arrested the man who was assaulted. This is on the quarantine in Barbisa now. They arrested the man who was assaulted. They said later, thank Lord for videos and so on. When they saw the video, they realized that it's Jafar Ali who first assaulted the man, and the man just reacted or responded. So they released him. Well, let me say this. I hope this man will leave it there, because that would have been an unlawful arrest. You can't leave these things like that. And let me say, Jafar Ali went, based on the thing, I don't know for sure that she went there. But if she did make a report which caused the police to arrest this man, because I can't see the police, them arresting him without a report being made. Even though they can, the type of unprofessional policing you have now might very well be. Anyhow, a report is made. And we have said it repeatedly, there's a step that there are steps that the police should take. The report is made, person comes to the station, report that they were assaulted. The first thing you do, you entertain the report. You make a record of the report. Depending on the nature of the assault, if the person has visible sign of injuries or so on, you take the person to be medically examined. And I emphasize that you have to take the person to be medically examined, not send them with a medical report form. You will then at some stage shortly thereafter take a statement from the person who's making the report. Statement to include exactly what transpired and who would have been there, who can support this allegation of the assault. You have to do all of that before you even think about making arrest. You know the person, what is the name of the person, you know where the person lives, all of that. You have got to make sure that those records are kept, not somebody can make a report of an assault and you're going right away to arrest. No, that's not the way it should be done. You have got to make sure that you make the occurrence. As I've said, depending on the nature of the assault, if you get visible injuries, it can be an assault causing actual bodily harm. ACBH, as we would say, you have to take the person to get medical examination. And again, I'm sure Mr. Conway can emphasize on this. You have to take this thing where now, when a person makes a report, they give them the form and say, go to the doctor. That is wrong. That is wrong. The person ought to be escorted to the medical facility. Because when they return from that, they ought to be made to write a statement to say that during the time of this escort, no further injuries was received by this person. Because you send a person with a medical form to go to the doctor, and next thing you know, the person wicked. They're going to put their head on some post or something else happen when they go in there, and they're going to blame it on the person who's they're making the allegation against. So you want to guard against that. The person has to be escorted, and the person who did the escort must write a statement at the end. That is proper policing. And before I bring in Mr. Kawila, we said this. You're claiming that the report was made and you took action, you arrested this man. When you view the video, it shows that, look, Indira Jaffer was the aggressor. She assaulted this man. And she made a false report. Did you arrest her? Did you contemplate or have you charged her for making a false information to the police? This is how police work is done professionally, Professionally. But the people you have there now are clearly partisan in many cases. They're siding. You can't do that as police. You can't side, even if you support a particular party. When it comes to doing your work, you got to make sure you do what the law requires. And in this case with Jaffer Ali, once you discover that she came and she gave false information to the police, you ought to have been arrested there and then. A caution she and clap a charge from she giving false information because the information that she gave to you caused you to arrest this man. But I don't know, like they don't know how this thing is done now. And let me say this before I bring it with a conversation again. That name, Jaffer Ali, seems to be a name in Bobby that has total immunity. Because I remember some years ago, can't remember the exact time, a person with that same name struck and killed someone on the road, driving some vehicle. It was alleged that the person was intoxicated at the time. Kill a man on the road. And they're saying that nothing happened. And people are alleging that nothing happened because of who the person is. He's big with the PPP, they say. They claim that he's a big thing in the PPP. And they claim also that because of the name and because of his religion, nothing happened. That is the country that we live in called Guyana. Let me bring you Mr. Conway. CC, let me hear your comment on that, and perhaps you can give your closing at the same time.
Paul, I said before on the last episode, that this is election season. And what went on in Bobby's party, the election season, it is in a PPPC stronghold. Their supporters, they mobilize the 10-day workers, and they place people, they've handpicked people talking about police officers, senior police officers to be in charge of division, and more particularly in the stronghold, that they expect the people going to misbehave, and they expect those people who they put in place in the various divisions, and I could name the Division 1, Region 1, Region 2, Region 3, 4C, 4B, 6, where the incident took place, and then recently 8, where the commander there now was involved in a fatal accident. They scoot him away to Region 8 and they promoted him. Here's it. You are involved in a fatal accident. Investigation is being conducted, and they scoot you away. They promoted you from a deputy commander to a commander. So they put the people in place there so that when the party supporters misbehave, they'll have preferential treatment, or they won't do anything about them. And that is what is going to happen, because that is the plan. Put me men there, and more so in my stronghold, that when my supporters do nonsense, and we know election time is a silly season, when they do nonsense, the police will not do anything. The police hands were tied because them is me people, and I put you there for look after the interests of my people. And let me jump off, because time is in closing. There's a big financial irregularity investigation is being done right now by the audit department. Here is what happening. Region 1, 7, 8 and 9. And I spoke to it since Brutus was in charge here. They submitting bogus accounts. Accounts saying that they went on patrol and they have to utilize boats and vehicles and all sort of things. And they producing a receipt, bogus receipt, say that it cost them so much amount of money. And through the divisional commanders, those accounts are submitted to the police finance office. And people in the finance office doing their own thing. They're preparing bogus accounts also to go along with them. And then they write out checks, send back to the divisional headquarters, where the commanders there will have to catch the checks, pay the persons who they said have been on patrol and things a certain amount, and the rest they utilize at the command level and at the ministry or the finance department level. I've seen over 30 copies of checks to the effect. Over 30 copies of checks, totaling over $23 million. $23 million, and many more if they do proper investigation. Bogus, where the checks are written out for bogus accounts and cash and the money split up. I understand the other department, they have some men or maybe men and women at the police finance office, and they understand have started an investigation. I understand it's massive. From the total checks, copies of checks that I've seen, and the endorsement, who endorsed the checks, it amounts to over $23 million and counting. And it is done in collaboration with divisional headquarters and the police finance office. More to come on a subsequent episode.
God, more to come. Look, it's corruption and corruption. Corruption, guys, what they can like you. When we talked about the corruption involving Brutus, they dance and they dance and they dance and now we're talking about this one. We're gonna keep talking about it. Let's see what they are going to do. Let's see. Now, folks, as we come to an end, I gotta give you all your therapy, but I have a little a lengthened version of the same thing. So listen to it. Listen to it.
The darker you are, the lower you are on the index. The developed countries hardly ever get on this index. And they have more institutional corruption, in my view.
What about within your government? Do you accept bribes?
No, I don't.
We've spoken to a number of Chinese business people in Guyana who said that you do accept bribes. And they've said that, in fact, it's the only way to get business done.
Yeah, well, I can't comment on that. You can just sit there and fabricate that. Unless you say who the person is, I can't comment on anonymous people.
Okay, well, let's talk about specific individuals. What is your relationship with Mr. Su Zhurong?
Su? Oh, Su? My relationship? Nothing. He's a tenant in my place, yeah.
And he's a good friend of yours?
Yes, yes, he is a friend of ours.
He claims that through his very close relationship with you, that he's able to get any deal done.
Well, I don't.
Do you use middlemen like Sue in order to take money on your behalf so that you can keep your hands clean?
No. The answer is no.
We met with a manager from a Chinese state-run corporation who confirmed that they use individuals like Sue in order to get these deals done, and that they pay them a consulting fee, which essentially serves as a bribe to individuals like you. I mean, what would you say to that?
I don't know, because again, that's all.
That is part of your therapy for this morning. That is part of your therapy, and I can't deny you this other one, and then we're going to do the closing.
You who are out there, if they come, we got to shoot and scoot. And shoot good and scoot. And keep shooting and scooting until help arrives.
Folks, we had a long morning, and again, I got to compliment you on your attendance, both in the schoolyard and in the classroom itself. I hope that you found this morning's program interesting. From your comments and I guess from your attendance, you found it interesting, and we welcome the new students. Continue to share. And as I've said, to continue to support the program, we have the information at the bottom there, Zelle, Cash App, MMG. And we want to thank all those who contribute from time to time. Whatever you can afford, it goes a long way towards ensuring that we can come here at least twice a week, sometimes 3 times a week, to bring you this information. We're going to continue to do the research. We're going to continue to come and highlight. Mr. Conway spoke about this big fraud that he claims that as they're alleging that took place at the police finance office. Let's hope that a proper investigation is done. Because when we spoke about the money laundering allegation against Brutus, they were silent initially. When we claimed $16.5 million deposited into the police credit union, then returned, and all that, they were silent. They wanted to call Slow and Conway liars. And then what happens? Now what happened after? Then we have a big story. Big story. It was hundreds of millions of dollars eventually revealed. Big. And we're going to stay on these things. We're going to stay. We talk about the squatter, $8.5 million the man took. And in that matter, let me tell you this before we close. The statement that he wrote to say Amir Ahmad gave him $8.5 million to finance Brutus' wedding. He became a wedding planner. That statement, we understand, was written to explain the 40-something million that Brutus deposited into a bank account, which triggered a suspicious transaction investigation. So he wrote a statement, this man get 8.5 and all of that. 8.5, and then he said gifts he get, other gifts and awards and so on, he get 40-something million. And what they do? They dance and dance and dance and dance. And eventually end up, Brutus now get 261 criminal charges. You don't hear anything further? Somebody asked, what is the position with that? We ain't hear anything further. The wife went to the U.S., I think it was December 5 or something like that. We ain't hear anything further. You're not hearing anything further. And that is the issue that you have. These are the people who claim to be transparent, but they don't tell you about these things. Folks, we have had a good morning. Let me tell you before we leave, the next program is scheduled for Monday. That's the next scheduled program. But as we have said repeatedly, once you subscribe to the channel, when we get anything and we got to come, you will know. You will get the notification. So it's good for you to subscribe on YouTube or follow on Facebook. Friday coming, that's Friday the 4th, I have an ex-court appointment. The trial in the sexual assault matters continue on Friday. So I know Barlet said come with the next program Friday. I don't know that we can do that. But that matter continues on Friday, just to keep you updated, right? Just to keep you updated. And as I've said, one of the things we need to warn you to is that, as we have always said, be careful. Be a lot of things going on in Guyana health-wise. I saw a report where children from school get fever and all sort of things, and they're claiming some outbreak of some viral infection. Something, you got to be careful. Look at the confusion on the East Coast corridor. People taking 3 hours from Golden Grove and all of those places, I think, to get to Georgetown. It's madness. Madness. We know about the Concussion Road. We know about the Vice President calling out Ejil publicly about the confusion on the East Bank Road. You have got to be safe. And until we meet again, God's willing, whenever that is, stay safe. And bye.